don't think so.
I doubt it.
What's that noise?
She's just putting a microphone so she can talk to us.
Alright, how you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Good, that's great. My name's Emily. With me is Charles. We're about to feed some hungry alligators. Before we do, we have one quick but extremely important rule that is actually applied all throughout our park. It has to do with the fact that whether you like to acknowledge it or not, you are made out of meat. And our friends here, they are carnivores, so that means they only eat what? Meat, right? So we have these lovely low wooden fences that give you an up-close and personal view of our normally mellow animals. But since we have been feeding them chicken here in captivity, they have become a little bit more hungry around feeding time. And that makes these low wooden fences very dangerous if anyone is raised on or above them. These no kids who can be sitting or standing on low wooden fences, and you cannot have anyone sitting or standing upon your shoulders. You're allowed to hold your child. We don't want anybody perched up there. Just get a good grip on your kid. We don't want any accidental feedings going on we don't know about. But it looks like everybody's being safe now, so thanks guys for complying. We'll go ahead and start feeding our little friends here. If I can get this piece off. Alright, so what you see before you is a pool full of about 300 North American alligators. You're going to find these little guys all the way north to North Carolina and westward out to eastern Texas. We actually have about 300,000 here in the state of South Carolina alone. It's quite a lot of animals, but it did not always used to be that way because people, way to go us, even though these guys have been around for 300 million years and they survived the Great Extinction 65 million years ago that wiped out all the other dinosaurs, these guys still survived. We managed to almost eradicate them completely. We almost had no more alligators because of humans in the 70s. And that's because alligators have really soft bellies, and unfortunately people like to use those soft bellies with things like purses, shoes, and boots. So they're almost hunted out of existence. But thanks to a bunch of people, in 1981, they passed the Endangered Species Act. And that means there's lots and lots of laws to protect alligators. Come on, little dude. And one of the most important laws to protect an alligator is that you and I, people are not allowed to feed them. It is extremely illegal to feed an alligator. You will be put in jail and face a hefty fine if you are caught feeding an alligator. And that alligator actually has to be put down, has to be killed. So it's no good for anyone. And the reason for this is because alligators are normally really, really afraid of people. When they hatch out of their egg, they're absolutely terrified of us. They're only 5 inches long, and they actually stay afraid of us up to this big 15-foot male size you see below Charles and I. So they're not really ravenous creatures like Godzilla or anything. They're not really scary at all, but once we start feeding them, they associate every human being with food. And once they make that association, they're going to become more friendly and come to you expecting food. They think, hey, these peoples, they're not so bad at all. They're going to try to feed me. So every human he sees is going to be a potential source for dinner. So he might eat your cat instead if you decide to stop feeding your pet alligator. And that means you'll be catless, facing a hefty fine, and in jail. And the alligator's dead. So that's not a good situation. You just shouldn't do it. But here at the park, we have to feed our alligators because they're our responsibility. They're all born here under human care, and they'll remain here until the day they pass away naturally. So they're kind of stuck with us, and they don't mind because we feed them very well. It's actually super easy to feed all of our alligators because they don't eat a lot of food. An adult male alligator is about 1,200 pounds.
Sound
It's
their
only eating
jaws
about 50
make
pounds
is
of meat
crazy.
the entire year. That's all he wants. Now out in the wild, he's going to be eating stuff like land mammals and waterfowl. But here at the park, we're feeding him lots and lots of chicken. So like I said, this guy's only about 50 pounds of meat the whole year. This is actually my last piece. We kind of ran out of chicken early tonight, so I'm sorry guys, but that's the end of our feeding as soon as Charles has finished all of his pieces. So our next show is going to be the last show of the night. Actually, this is the last alligator feeding night, so if you missed earlier shows, another alligator feeding, or you came late to this one, we do have a second day free pass available at whichever ticket booth you came in. So you just show your ID and your seat. You can get second day free with the next 7 days back to the park during the daytime. Thanks for coming out to Alligator Adventure. And please never keep your children off your shoulders. Thanks, guys.